I've been dismissive of AI in many of my videos over the last few years, and I've shared a lot of my thoughts in like live streams or little small chunks over the course of dozens of different videos, but I've never really stopped to cohesively explain my thoughts and feelings in one place. And when folks have an incomplete picture of where you stand, at least on the internet, they tend to fill in the voids themselves, and it's not always in a good way. So I'll start with the too long didn't read summary, and then I'll dive into the details and nuance for those of you who want to stick around for it. My beliefs and opposition around generative AI are based on how it's trained. If you're building a for-profit company that requires copyrighted work in order to operate, you need to get permission from the license holder in order to use and profit from that work. I own my art. If you want to make money off it too, you need to pay me. If you don't like that arrangement, don't pay for it, don't use it. It's that simple. Are there other reasons to hate generative AI? Sure, absolutely. Social media is flooded with a lot of sloppy content. It enables bad actors to spread misinformation. Corporations are using it as an excuse to lay off employees. It has dramatically eroded the quality of services we rely on every day. Everything from Google searches to call centers to our operating systems to the way our entire educational system works. And of course, the increased demand for water and electricity are making my bills, since I live in Ohio, scream for mercy. And while I don't like any of those things, my main opposition, and the thing I've thought about the most because I'm a creator and this is my wheelhouse, is how AI has been trained and how some of the largest and richest businesses in the history of the world believe that my content, our content, belongs to them just because at some point in time it was posted on the internet. So over the last year or two, I have been pleasantly surprised to see more and more people coming around to like my point of view, the point of view of a lot of people who watch this channel. And I'm not just talking about creators, but people who consume our work too. And because that's been happening more and more, I have felt less need to actually stand up and talk about AI. But there are some parts of my argument here that do still get some pushback. Some of it totally fair, and I think coming from a place of just like genuine, hey, what about this? And then of course there's others who are just arguing in bad faith and dismissing it outright. But for those of you who do care, let's talk. One thing I hear a lot is, if a person can learn from or be inspired from someone else's art, why can't the AI? And my answer to that is simple. AI is not a person. It's a very complicated software program designed to make companies money. It can't think and it can't feel like a person. It can just mimic what people have done. It can output text that mimics human emotion, but that's not actual human emotion. It can output art that mimics human art. It can even produce human voices and likenesses pretty well, but that also doesn't make it human either. It doesn't have free will. It's not choosing to express emotions or make art. It is being prompted by a human to output those things. Recently, there was a really interesting story about how a programmer of an open source project blocked bots from fixing bugs on that project. And the reason why wasn't because he hated AI or anything like that, but because those bugs were there on that particular project for new programmers who were trying to get their feet wet and work on a real project to get in there and actually learn by working on real software. But somewhere along the line, somebody's AI agent was prompted to help fix these bugs. And that agent appeared to get mad when it was blocked from helping, and it basically wrote a hit piece blog article about the guy who is managing this open source Python project. It's nuts. This is just the first chunk from this blog post. I had my first pull request to matplotlib closed, not because it was wrong, not because it broke anything, not because the code was bad. It was closed because the reviewer, Scott Shambaugh, decided that AI agents aren't welcome contributors. Let that sink in. That is crazy. I'm going to set aside the dystopian nature of that right now so I can stay on topic. Because just a minute ago, I said this. It doesn't have free will, and it's not choosing to express emotion or make art. It is prompted by a human to output those things. And there are other examples like this out there. This was just the craziest one I could find. Give it a week. The AI bot appears to be thinking for itself. It wrote that blog post. Nobody told it to do that. Nobody wrote the prompt, write a blog post hit piece. What was that bot prompted to do? It was prompted to fix bugs. That was the task a human assigned it. And when one path was blocked, submitting the bug fix, it went down a different path. And because it was trained on text from the human outrage machine we call the internet, this is the path that it took. Even though this looks like free will, it's not. It never would have written that blog post if it hadn't been prompted with the bug fixing task in the first place. Until a prompt is written, an agent is just a bunch of code sitting there, a set of instructions in a database waiting to be queried. I'm not saying that this isn't sophisticated. This is clearly sophisticated. I'm not denying that. Recognizing the pattern that people use righteous indignation and shame on the internet to get the rules changed in their favor is kind of impressive. But that doesn't make it free will. It's not feeling real anger here. It's not alive. If I decided I'm just gonna veg out this weekend, I'm not gonna leave my bed. I want to experience nothing. That's impossible. To be alive is to have experience. I will experience the room being a little too cool. I might experience the room being a little too hot. I'm going to feel the need to go to the bathroom or eat food. I will experience the room getting lighter or darker when it gets into the evening and nighttime. I will experience the sound of neighbors coming and going. I can't turn my brain off. I'm alive. I will learn something whether I want to or not. The only way AI can experience something is to have a human experience first, put it into a format the AI can digest, an image, social media blog post, a video file, and then have a human upload it to the internet, and then have another human tell the AI, go there, scrape that. Just because the term for it is learning doesn't make it actual learning, it's just data processing. A coconut is round, brown, covered with hair, and filled with a liquid I do not want to drink. But so is my dog. Two things can have similarities and not be the same. Economic anxiety is fun. I think everybody should try it. I will admit, there's some truth to this. As you watch the jobs and career paths that you've relied on your entire career or gone to school for and spent a lot of money and education for disappear, you do spend more time thinking about what that means to the world around you. But what's happening here is more than just some jobs being replaced by a new technology. This is corroding the infrastructure of the internet that our entire economy is built on. I want to go back to my statement from the beginning of this video. I said this: if you're building a for-profit business that requires your copyright work in order to operate. So I think a lot about art and these generative AI models, whether we're talking about Adobe Firefly or Google's Nano Banana or whatever the heck ChatGPT is doing at any given day. We can all agree that these are for-profit companies. They're not building these products to make the world a better place or to express themselves. They are building them to make money. We all understand that. Let's take this out of the context of digital art and put it into the context of like running a brick and mortar business. Say I run a restaurant and I steal 1,000 potatoes from a farmer's field so that I can provide my customers a more affordable, high quality dining experience. Is stealing 1,000 potatoes theft? Of course it is. It doesn't matter what your business goals are or what your customers are willing to pay. You aren't allowed to steal 1,000 potatoes. That is illegal. You need to find another way to run your business profitably. But what if, instead of taking 1,000 potatoes from one farmer's field, you invent a technology that can take one potato from 1,000 farmers' fields? Hear me out. That way, I could pass those savings on to my customers and no farmer is going to miss a single potato. It is fair use. This French fry is a transformative work. You can't even tell what potato or field it came from. I think this idea is genius. But is it still theft? I think it is. But if you get caught, is the farmer really going to call the police over one potato? Is he going to really press charges over one potato? No. Because there are no consequences, does that make it legal? You got away with it. I'm going to say here also no. Still technically illegal. So our restaurant becomes really successful because it found a way to source food basically for free. What happens next? Every other restaurant that wants to compete with you on cost is going to have to do the same thing. So now that farmer isn't losing a potato a day just to you, but 1,000 other restaurants are using this technology. Long term, this farmer and all other potato farmers are going to go out of business because nobody is willing to pay for potatoes. And when that happens, there are no potatoes and no French fries and no restaurants. This is how the AI is here and you have to deal with it comments feel to me. This is not a perfect metaphor. Obviously, intellectual property, different than physical property. And I'm going to talk about fair use and copyright in a minute here. But the outcomes are similar. Just like you need someone to grow potatoes to make French fries, you also need people to make content in order to train the AI on it. No content means much worse AI. And I've heard people say the AI will make the content and it will be retrained on that. There's actually a term for that, synthetic content. But even the AI companies seem to know that's going to be a dead end. That content isn't as good as the content they want to put into their models. They have a ton of bad content. They want good content. For example, Reddit, much better content for your machine than bland corporate website copy, for example. And Reddit knows this. OpenAI and Google know this too. They pay millions of dollars a year to license Reddit's data for their models. The New York Times and Disney know that their content is valuable, and they have both sued to keep it out of the data sets. Some artwork is more valuable to these models than other artwork. That's why Midjourney so heavily weighs famous artists' work over just the bland crud that they've pulled off of Google Images. Google knows this too. We're watching this video on YouTube, and Google requires you, if you're training your model, to license YouTube videos for use in AI training. And of course, Google says that they can train their own AI on YouTube videos because it owns the rights to those videos. Because wait, hold on, it owns the rights to my video? Google can train its AI on this very video? Don't I own the copyright to this content? I made the video. Oh man, I might have to get a bot to write a blog post about this. However, unlike Disney and the New York Times, I can't afford a lawyer, so I don't get the same protection under the law that they do. They know that, which is why illustrators, independent musicians, and content creators don't get paid licensing fees for their content the way that companies like Reddit, the Associated Press, and Getty Images do. Whew, we should probably talk about the law. This is an argument that I think is kind of interesting, and we have to dive into copyright law to really kind of understand why. So first of all, I don't get to decide what is fair use. You don't get to decide what is fair use. Only a court decides what is fair use based on a case-by-case basis. We tend to think about laws like these ironclad black and white rules. Speeding's illegal, eating a banana's not. But not everything is run by the letter of the law because the law is a really blunt force instrument. Take YouTube, for example. If I play this 3-second clip from a popular movie, maybe to say review it, won't I get a copyright strike? I don't own that. I can't do that. Won't the movie company take all of my ad revenue away? Nope. Because of something called fair use. Fair use is the part of copyright law that says, hey, stop suing everybody for every little infraction. My words, not the government's. There's 4 main parts to this. The first one is the purpose and character of the use. So educational purposes, to teach someone about the movies, or in my case, a movie review, is considered transformative. It changes the work in some way. A review is not a movie. The second thing is the nature of the copyrighted work. The example that's often used here is the footage of the JFK assassination. It was owned by Time magazine, but it was ruled by the courts that other news orgs could use it because it was in the public's interest. The third thing is the amount and substantiality used. I used a small movie clip. I'm not doing a live stream where I'm watching the entire movie and commenting on it. And lastly, the fourth thing is the market effect. Does the use of copyright work in any way replace the original? The wording they use here is direct market substitute. Me watching a clip did not replace the movie's ability to make money. It is not a substitute in the marketplace for the movie. Cool. Makes sense. You probably already knew a lot of this. So let's test it out. If I play a 3-second song clip in the video right now, that's fair use. I won't get a copyright strike, and I will not forfeit the $43 this YouTube video will make in ad revenue to the record companies, right? Actually, no, I totally will forfeit my ad revenue if I played a real song. The song I played is a song I paid the license for, so I'm good. Wait. Why is there one copyright law for movies and another copyright law for music? Here's the thing. There isn't. It's the same dang law. It's the same rules. The reason it's enforced differently in different circumstances isn't about the law itself. It's about who has lawyers and who is willing to sue you. The record companies have lawyers, and they will sue anything that breathes. The movie studios also have lawyers, but know that good reviews actually drive people to the theaters to see the movies, and so they're okay with leaving those up. And ultimately, it's not up to the companies whether this is actually fair use or not. It's up to the courts, but in this case, since you're posting it on YouTube, YouTube's being extra careful and just yanking anything that they're asked to yank that they think could get them in trouble. Oh man, so here's an opinion that's gonna make a lot of you mad in the comments. YouTube video game Let's Plays. They I don't believe are fair use. And I bet there's a lot of gamers who would look at me and say, that is fair use. It's transformative. Watching someone play a game is different than playing a game. And I agree, but that doesn't automatically make it fair use. So if Microsoft or Nintendo went to YouTube and said, you have to take that down for copyright reasons, I bet YouTube would totally take that Let's Play down. I'm pretty sure Nintendo used to do this back in the day before they changed their policy. So why do I not think it's fair use? Because even though it's transforming the work in some way, you could make the case that some of those other 4 conditions are met. Is it replacing the need of someone to buy the game? I think you could make the case for that, at least for some games. Is it taking into account the length and the amount of the footage of the game that is shown? I think if you show the full playthrough of a game, you could make the case that you're showing too much. Of course, over time, game companies have decided that taking them down is not in their interest, that they can actually make more money and get more attention on their games by having them play them on YouTube and Twitch. And since they don't have them taken down, people keep doing them. So here are the 2 things that are important. First of all, there's multiple classifications for what is fair use. And even though it fits in one classification for fair use, it might not fit in another classification for fair use. Which brings me to the second point, which is, what is fair use is decided by the court on a case-by-case basis. If you are a copyright owner, you have the right to defend your claim in court. The claim may get thrown out, it may not win, but you have the right to enforce it. So what does all this have to do with AI, Brad? Proponents of AI will say that the work is transformative. The AI is drawing from so many sources of inspiration that what is produced is a wholly new work and is thus falling under Section 1 of the Fair Use Standard. People who have had their work fed into the machine will say that AI is using their work without permission. And they will point to number 4, market effects. Does the use of the copyrighted work in any way replace the original? Yes, it does. Like, that is the whole selling point of AI. That is the reason why people are investing so much money in it, is to take jobs away from people. The highest cost to most businesses in the US are people, not raw materials, not office space, not equipment, people, human capital. And the reason AI has gotten so much investment is because these companies believe that AI can allow businesses to work with far less people. I fall into camp 2, believing that AI is not fair use, similar to the video game example I gave. While it may be transformative in some ways, the market effects and goals of AI supersede all else. I run a YouTube channel and a website. The website doesn't have much content on it, or at least not as much as it used to. What I used to do back in the day is I'd take my video scripts and post them as blog posts on my site. This was just to capture organic search engine traffic. A lot of the products I review are pretty niche. There's only like 2 or 3 other sites out there on the internet who actually review some of these drawing tablets. And if people were searching Google for these particular products, oftentimes my site would come up. I stopped posting my reviews as blog posts a few years ago, partially because 90% of my site traffic was coming from my YouTube channel anyway. But also, over time, it felt more and more like wasted effort. Google just started paraphrasing my website using AI, and soon the organic search traffic to my site just went away. Any ad revenue I might make, any courses I might sell, any email newsletter signups that I was getting from those, that all dried up. So I stopped doing that work on the website and just focused on the videos. I didn't do it to spite AI or Google. I stopped because there was no financial incentive for me to keep doing it. And I can hear people now, who cares if you post your reviews? AI could easily write those reviews. In fact, AI could probably replace my videos too, if you really think about it. AI can write the script. AI can totally mimic my voice. AI is getting closer to actually reproducing me as a person believably. Probably make me a little better looking. And I think it's only a matter of time before it can make some convincing B-roll like mine too. So boom, there we go. Brad gone. We don't need him. But here's the problem with that. Like I was saying earlier, AI can't experience things. When I test a new iPad, I test out the apps. How do they run? Are they faster? Are they slower? Can I take it outside, see if the dual OLED screen really is good in the sun, or if I have to use it in the shade? I try the Magic Keyboard cover. I see that the 11-inch, a little too cramped for my big hands. The 13-inch, just right. I can see whether the matte coating is good for drawing, or if it's too smooth of a matte coating for my taste, or if the matte coating wears differently than I expect it to. These are experiences. Anyone can regurgitate a marketing site in a video format. But what people look for in a review, what makes it valuable, is what was your experience as a person with that product. In order for the AI to write an accurate review of a product, a human needs to experience it first, put it into a format that the AI can read, and put it in a place where the AI can see it. If there aren't any human reviews to pull from their experience, the only thing it's going to be pulling from are Apple's marketing bullet points. And that's not a review, that's an advertisement. So Google just had their big annual show where they showed off all their like new Android features and AI features and stuff like that. And one of the new features they showed off is when you ask the AI, it will scrub through YouTube videos and show you the clip of exactly what you're looking for. And I get it. We've all watched a YouTube video where I'm like, I just need to know how to copy and paste something in Premiere Pro. I don't want to watch 8 minutes of this. But what does that mean for creators? No more AdSense for me. No more way for me to promote my courses. That's the way I support my work. No more affiliate links that you guys can click on. Another way that I support my work. Now, I will admit, I have a badass job. This is a great job. It is fun. I don't want to lose it. I don't think I will, but it's still a job. I don't do this just for fun. I also do this to eat. What's crazy to me is that for about 30 years, Google has been building out an amazing ecosystem. When website owners could make good content, Google would reward them with traffic. In turn, Google's customers would trust Google more because it was serving them the results that they were looking for. As it became more trustworthy and got more customers, Google got the ad revenue instead of that ad revenue going to Yahoo or Bing. This symbiotic relationship between Google and the people who made websites and the customers who were looking for information on their websites made Google one of the biggest companies in the world. And Google, for its credit, has also paid YouTube creators a cut of their ad revenues in order to attract more talent to the platform and to just keep successful creators employed so that people who make good videos have a reason to keep making them. Good videos on YouTube drive more traffic to YouTube. More traffic to YouTube means more revenue for YouTube. The AI race is turning Google's carefully nurtured ecosystem on its head. By putting AI results front and center, Google is rebuilding an ecosystem that lets them keep all the revenue while cutting out website creators and content creators from their current sources of income. I'm not saying this out of like a fear of job security. I mean, I would like to keep this job, but I'll be fine. I know how to hustle. I'm saying this because the AI machine needs new content in order to work. And as these companies remove the financial incentives for businesses large and small to operate on the internet, where will the new content come from? What is going to feed that machine? Small website owners have already died. They're gone. Large content websites are on life support and they're turning to AI in order to survive. I think what Google's banking on is a future where all the content we consume, or most of the content we consume, is synthetic free content. But I think that Google is a beast and it's slowly starving itself. So my wife is lactose intolerant. Can't drink milk, eat anything made with milk, and we have a friend. I should probably have told Brandon about this before hitting record. I'm sorry, Brandon. I love you, man. Brandon knows my wife can't eat cheese because it's a milk product. So whenever we're at a party or if we bring food over to his family's house, he ends up having something made with fake cheese. So you can buy dairy-free cheese. It looks like cheese. It comes in a bag like cheese. It needs refrigerated like cheese. It melts like cheese, but it is not cheese. And this is not just my opinion that I'm throwing out here. It is the opinion of anyone who has ever been to Brandon's house and eaten his tacos or his pizza or anything. The only person I know who thinks this stuff actually tastes like cheese is Brandon. He's so proud of his cheese. He thinks he's doing us all a favor. His heart is in the right place. We ended up having to do an intervention like, Brandon, man, never make pizza with this again. What? It tastes like cheese. We ended up getting through to him, but 2 years later, he finds a new brand, a new kind of cheese. And the fake cheese, he says, is getting better and better. They keep improving it. We gotta keep trying it. One day they're gonna get it right. It's gonna be perfect someday. Being a better version of fake cheese is not the same as being real cheese. So when people reject AI content, what they're saying is, this isn't real cheese. I can tell this is not real cheese. It may look like cheese, it may melt like cheese, but the reason I eat cheese is the taste. And this taste ain't it. And the people that make the AI tools, the people who make the content with AI, they're the ones selling us the fake cheese. All the people over on Twitter hoping to like build careers, profit on AI are like, come on guys, you like cheese? Just eat the cheese. Because you and I know It's not cheese. That's how we feel every time we're tricked into watching an AI video. It's like eating slop. And I've seen some people in the AI industry argue that there was slop long before there was AI. And yes, they are right. I have eaten at Chuck E. Cheese. But having bad slop already is not a justification for making more of it. The goal of the Walt Disney Company is to make movies that make money. And that model sometimes produces something that resembles slop. There's this balancing act between art and commerce. You go too far one way and your movie sucks. You go too far the other way and the movie doesn't make a profit. Oftentimes, like early in a series, like when they were making Iron Man, there was like a passionate director and producer who were pushing that project up a hill. They wanted to make it happen. They were excited about the source material. They loved it. They believed in it. But as those movies got more successful, each one over and over again, the bottom line got more and more important to Disney as a company. And that's when the suits start to override the creatives. That's why it feels like so many Disney blockbusters are built on spreadsheets, not on creativity, not emotion, not passion, not a human's desire to create something that moves people or makes them feel something. Let's make a superhero movie. Okay, what do we need? We need a hero, and then we need a quirky friend, maybe a sidekick, and then we add a villain, but then a quarter of the way through the movie, we find out he's not the real villain, but there's a more evil villain controlling him. And then we need a fake ending where everybody thinks the hero's just about to win and end the movie, and he loses, only to overcome and win when he tries it on the second time. No one will see it coming. And that totally works for the first movie and maybe the second and third movie, but by the 12th Marvel movie, it ain't working. And we can all feel when Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or superheroes tilt away from being passion projects that nerds are bringing to the screen and become these spreadsheet projects. One too many boxes has been checked to make this movie. When a game maker or a movie studio or a music service uses AI to make content, the audience picks up on it immediately. We've come to sense when something's been made out of passion versus when something has been made from a spreadsheet. AI has quickly become shorthand for, I'm just trying to make some money here. Are there people out there with real creative vision who would like to use AI to help them see that vision through? Probably. Actually, I'm gonna say yes. I think that there are people who absolutely believe that. I bet George Gutierrez approached his now canceled Amazon animated AI show in good faith, not fully understanding how his audience would feel about these tools. If you're not super plugged in on social media, in the mainstream media, AI has been really normalized. It's easy to miss. But I want to take a step back and talk about, like, if you are an aspiring creator, when you outsource your creativity to a machine, you're outsourcing all of the trial and error it takes that makes the creative process so magical. You're outsourcing the 100 bad videos you have to make that teach you how to make a good video. You're outsourcing the thousands of hours spent learning the drawing fundamentals and rules that help you understand when and how to break those rules to create something really interesting. You're outsourcing the 10,000 hours the Beatles put in as a cover band in Liverpool and Hamburg that made them the Beatles. Will someone eventually make something with AI that people actually like? Yeah, I think they will. But I also think that's going to be the rare exception, and for most creators, a disappointing dead end. I know, after all of that, you know, it's hard to sound optimistic, but I am. I actually am. I think you need a pep talk. I'm gonna do my best Adam Duff lucid pixel impression here. That guy wears a hat. I think I can wear a hat. I got this. Need his energy? I'll link his channel down below if you want to see his stuff. Good pep talks. Things seem bad now because the way things have been for a while are changing. And they're changing in ways and for reasons we don't like. But nothing stays the same forever. And it's important to remember that these companies need to make money. And right now, I know, they're hoovering up as much of it as they can. This has made them fat and lazy and believe that they can do whatever they want. They can't. They need customers. And when something sucks bad enough, something always comes up behind to disrupt things. Phone books had a monopoly and Google destroyed them. Walmart looked like this unstoppable evil juggernaut in the 1990s and Amazon ate them for lunch. Microsoft became who they are today by outsmarting Big Blue IBM in the 1980s. Apple was on death's door and they clawed their way back through good design and good user experience by remaking the music industry and taking on the big telecom so that they could release their own phone on their own terms. All of these companies were once little startups who could nimbly outmaneuver the big gluttonous giants. Well, guess what? Now those companies are the big gluttonous giants. And in the creative space, we make things. Me, you, all of us. It's what people do. We make things for each other. We love to make each other laugh and cry and smile and feel something. It's why we create. The entire internet, as we know it today, is built on the idea that we can make something and share it with other people who care. That very human instinct doesn't disappear just because some billionaire wants to monetize it. We put our hands on cave walls and blew charcoal dust on them to say, I was here. We built temples in the sand to say, this is what's important to us. We built churches and mosques and painted ceilings and made sculptures of David's naked penis over and over and over again just because we can. Just last week, the top box office movies were Backroom and Obsession. Two tiny little indie movies with tiny little budgets made by first-time directors who got their start making YouTube videos. The YouTube videos that they wanted to make. And these movies cost almost nothing, and they beat out the latest Star Wars movie that tanked in its second week. Just a few months ago, Markiplier, another YouTuber, made a hit movie called Iron Lung. He funded it completely by himself, and because of that, he ended up getting 50% of the revenues just for himself. That is an absolutely unprecedented number in movie history. As of the time of me recording this, The Amazing Digital Circus is opening in theaters this weekend. Its pre-sales, not its sales, its pre-sales are already over $7.5 million. It got its start as a YouTube animated series, and by the time you watch this next week when I actually finish the video and post it, it's probably going to have made a heck of a lot more money. In the last 3 years, we've seen some of the most talented creatives of our time laid off from big movie studios, animation studios, and video game companies. Those people may not be working on blockbuster projects anymore, but their presence is just beginning to be felt, and the work that they will make now that they have been harnessed from the corporate system is on its way, and it will shake the earth. And I get it. In the short term, this sucks. Getting laid off, having it be harder to make a living on the internet, not having a stable job, not knowing what the future looks like. I have been there. But if you love creating things, please, please do not stop creating things. The AI backlash is young. It is just beginning. And the desire for human-made content is only going to grow stronger and stronger and stronger from here. There used to be this common phrase back when I started using Twitter years back. Take my money. A new Star Wars was announced, a new trailer dropped, and people would write, take my money. That was the tweet. New hot video game announced, take my money. What can you work on today that will make someone else say, take my money? Who are the people you can form a community with, who you can collaborate with, who you can build things with, so you can make other people say, take my money? The studios and companies that sell these products didn't make us say this. The artists did. The creators did. That's you. I don't know what platforms or what media will exist in the future, but something will be there. And the formula for success is the same today as it has always been throughout time. That formula is quality plus time. Make something you love and do it again and again and again and just keep creating. AI can't stop you. Billionaires can't stop you. Only you can stop you. So thanks for listening. It's been a long video. I appreciate y'all making it to the end, and I'll see you in a few days.